Good day, YouTube. Here is a question for an individual who's already in the service, who is thinking of getting out. People get out of the service every week, and a lot of people do it successfully, which is the goal, at least that I would have for someone. I love when I see somebody say, hey, I did my time, 4 years, 6 years, I got out, and I'm moving on to the next chapter of my life. Keyword, successfully. The reason I say that is because I'm sure that the numbers for the people who transition out of the military and don't do it successfully is probably a little bit higher. That's a guess, but I put my guess on what I've seen in the past. Here's a perfect example. Let's say you're thinking of getting out and you move back to your home city, wherever that is, and you move back in with your parents. Let's say you live in your old bedroom or the basement. Is that really something that you want to do? In some cases it's okay, in some it's not. For example, do you have a family? And if that's the case, yes, you have a family and you're going to move back home, I would say that's something that it's not the way to do it. It happens, there's nothing wrong with that. But do you really want to move in with your family back to where you came from, even if it's temporary, for 3 months, for 6 months? That's how come I'm making this video, for you to think about while you're still in the service, what you have to do for a smooth transition. I had a tech sergeant mentor me one time when I was in A1C, and he said, hey, you want to get out? Great, good for you, thank you for your service of 4 years, completing your contract, but do you have your degree? Are you financially set? The answer was no. All I knew is I was going to go back to Los Angeles and maybe go back to where I used to work at $12 an hour, and now I have a family. So that's how come I bring that up, because if you plan properly and do what you're supposed to, not only financially, but also with your education, how much is it going to cost to go back home and live and pay rent or mortgage or whatever your case may be? Are you going to be earning more or less? Those are some things to think about. Some questions that I ask for you to think about. As you transition, the best thing that you can do is have a solid plan, not only financially, but are you going to go and do a same job that you had in the military? What job are you going to do? Things to think about. I came across that fork in the road one time, and I shared my information, my goals, my plan, and that's when my friend, that tech sergeant, said, okay, sounds good, I understand, but are you going to be in a better situation, yes or no? Sometimes the answer is absolutely. You've planned, you've taken care of that, you're going to go and execute that plan successfully, which is great, and people do that all the time. Again, how many people don't do that successfully? And maybe there's stress, and that is something that can affect a relationship if you are married. Stress, financially, transition, professionally, is part of life, but if you can reduce that, it's going to make your life a lot easier. That is my point today. So one of the things that I want to add right now is, with your transition, could you extend a little bit more to put yourself in a better situation? Could you maybe re-enlist one more term, 4 years, to put yourself in a better situation and prepare for that transition when that time comes? In some cases, some people are going to say, yes, I can, but I don't want to do that. Fine, press forward with your plan. In some cases, people are going to say, yes, probably a good idea. Let's do another 4 years, or extend for 2 years if that's possible. Put your plan into execution, so when you transition, hopefully you have no debt or reduced debt. You have an emergency fund, which is good. And professionally, you can slide right into that next job because of the training that you've had in the military, or because of your education that you've focused on. And I see a lot of people do that all the time, which is great. The people with education, whether it's a degree, an associate's, bachelor's, master's, or a job that's in high demand, will have a smoother transition than the individual who has not prepared financially, professionally, and they're wondering, okay, now I'm going to, let's just say any career field where you may get paid $10, $12, $13, $14 per hour. My goal with this video is to make you think, and I'll ask a lot of questions, not for you to answer to me, but for you to answer to yourself. How solid is your transition plan? The next thing is the post 9/11 GI Bill, which you may be entitled to, which is great, and it comes with the housing allowance. I've heard a lot of people say, I'm going to go to school. Good, but go to school for the right reason, not because there's a housing allowance of $1,400, $1,500, or whatever that amount is based on the location that you're going to. Because when I hear people say, oh, I'm going to go back to school, it's what I've always wanted to do, great, do it, pursue it, focus, make it happen. But I'll ask the question, did you go to school while you were in the service after your technical training? Because you had tuition assistance, which covers 100%. And in the cases of, yes, I did, and here's the proof, and here's what I've done, great. In the cases where, no, I didn't, I never did it, but now all of a sudden I want to go to school and live off the post 9/11 GI Bill housing allowance, that's a big pay cut. With your transition, think about medical as well. I'm not saying, or the purpose of this video is to, you're not going to make it. That's not what it is. Most people make it. People get out all the time. A lot of success stories out there as well. But for the stories that are not successful, that comes with, maybe I should have stayed in another 4 years. That's the purpose of this video, is for individuals who still have time to make up a solid plan to make it, so when their transition comes, they have a smooth transition. That's the goal. Sometimes people may say, no, I want my freedom back. I want to be able to travel wherever I want to without asking if there is a ban on going to, let's say, Mexico or Europe or wherever. Or I want to wake up whenever I want to wake up. I understand that. Do what's best for you. Plan accordingly. That way you will be in a successful situation. And I'll end with this. Regardless if you serve 2, 3, 4, 10 years, thank you for your service that you've done. Hopefully the military, regardless of branch, has put you in a better situation professionally and given you opportunities to go back to school or transfer those benefits to your children if you qualify for that. Think about it. Have a great day. Have a great transition.